So basically what we're going to do today is we're going to be pretending that we're a starfish and we're going to be eating mussels and showing kind of how natural selection works. Not like human mussels like clams and mussels. Still. I know, mussels are, I don't know, I think there's people either really like them or they are terrified of them. Personally, I don't like things in their shells or homes whenever I'm eating them, but it doesn't bother some people. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna just take a look at the lab here. Hopefully you read the background information. Shouldn't have been anything crazy new there. Just reiterates here that Charles Darwin came up with natural selection, right? He went through these two theories that he had: descent with modification, right? Which basically means that all species have a common ancestor. And his other concept was natural selection, right? Which is the process by which traits become more or less pronounced. So we have the concept that everything's related, and then this idea that natural selection is driving this evolution of species. Now, natural selection is a really hard concept to model in a lab, which you may have seen when you tried to do that colored squares thing, which was a lot of cutting out pieces of paper and stuff. This is going to be a little simpler, I think, and easier to understand. But regardless, it's a hard process to mimic because it's happening slowly, right? It's not happening to an individual. It's happening to a community or a species over time. So a lot of times when people think about adaptations, they think about evolution, they think that one day a bird was just born with wings, right? That's not exactly how it happened. Or that a bird was trying to fly and couldn't, and then it grew wings, right? That's kind of what we imagine to be how it works. It's not how it works. So really the issue with natural selection is that it's hard to model. So we're going to do the best we can here. So the key here is that individual organisms are not adapting, right? The mussels are not adapting to their environment. The mussels who are able to survive are more likely to reproduce. It gives them something called a reproductive advantage, which means they're more likely to survive and reproduce, which means that their traits are more likely to end up in the population. So you can imagine on humans, if everybody with brown hair, for some reason, never got sick, right? Then we would expect that a population of humans would have more people with brown hair. Not because that person with brown hair didn't get sick, right? But because they were able to survive, pass on their traits, and then their offspring were able to do the same thing here, which would be not get sick. All right, so the purpose of this lab, I realized, guys, I forgot to add this in the procedure section for your copy. So if you made your copy way before right now, then it probably wasn't there. But you're gonna be a starfish and you're gonna be eating mussels on a tidal shoreline, which is why you may have noticed this weird picture of a tropical beach with squares numbered 1 through 10, right? That's your shoreline where your mussels live. Those squares are gonna represent where they are chilling out until they get eaten. So if you're doing this from home and you wanna participate, you either have to print that out or just draw your own version of it. You prefer to eat the yellow mussels. So we have our bowl of mussels, which are Skittles here. We have yellow mussels and orange mussels. So you prefer the yellow mussels because they have a thinner, I put skin, but it should be shell. They have a thinner shell. So the yellow mussels are really easy to eat. You would much rather have those. If they're not available, you'll eat the orange mussels because you're still hungry, whatever, you'll eat the orange ones. It just takes more effort. So what we're gonna do is we're going to simulate this process happening. You're going to first draw 10 Skittles out of your cup, just randomly, so not looking. Place them on the shoreline, right? You're gonna eat 3 Skittles. You're not really gonna eat them yet. You're just gonna put them back into the pot of mussels. So you're gonna pick up 3. You're gonna start with yellow. If you run out of yellow, then you're gonna eat orange. Put them back. Your mussels are reproducing in the bowl. And then you're gonna draw 3 more mussels out. and they're gonna go back on the shoreline. All right, so we're basically gonna be, exactly, these are vegan mussels. I like that, that's good. Which mussels taste better? I don't know. I don't think anyone thinks yellow Skittles taste the best, but we'll just pretend they taste better than the orange ones. So then we're gonna record that data, right? And dang, usually we have like 10 people show up in person, but we only have 3 people today. So all 3 of you guys are gonna do this independently so we can get some more data. And Elizabeth, you're gonna do it too. Okay, so we're gonna have 4 people working with the mussels, and I will also do this activity with you guys who are watching so that you can see this happening. Again, you can easily do this at home. All right, so everybody's gonna get a shoreline, nice tropical beach, and a cup or bowl of Skittles. And I'm gonna be showing you guys at home. All right, so I have my shoreline. I'm gonna pick, and you guys can follow along with me, or you can just, I'm just gonna talk really obnoxiously through everything I'm doing. But you guys can just read the procedure on the lab and go through it at your own pace, just recording the number of mussels that you have. All right, so first we're gonna select 10. I'm actually gonna angle the computer down so you can see my shoreline. Okay. So as a side note, the mussels are chilling on the tidal part of the shoreline, right? Because that's where they live, actually, in a tidal ecosystem. Okay, so I have my mussels here. My starting number that I'm gonna record for my first generation is 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow, look how good that is. I have 5 yellow and 5 orange. Okay, so now I'm gonna eat them. So I pick 3. Oh, whoops, not the orange ones. I'm breaking the rules here. I prefer the yellow, so I'm eating 3 yellow. They're going back in. My mussels reproduced. Record speed, I'm gonna randomly select 3 more. Oh, I got 3 yellows.
I'm dead.
I'm plopping them back on. All right, again, I'm starting with 5 yellow, 5 orange for generation 2. I didn't even ask you guys to hypothesize in this experiment, but if you're at home, I want you to be thinking about what's gonna happen over time here. Is it gonna stay even like this? Is there gonna be more orange? Is there gonna be more yellow?
I don't know.
What's gonna happen?
I'm dead.
All right, again, I'm eating 3 yellows.
I don't have 3 yellows.
The Skittle number is going to increase. That's what's going to happen.
The Skittle number is gonna increase?
The amount of Skittles.
Oh, the amount you think? Well, I'm only gonna have 10. All right, this time I got 2 oranges and a yellow in my reproduction.
Oh.
So now, for my 3rd generation, I have 7 orange and 3 yellow to start. So when I eat now, I'm eating all 3 of the yellow.
I'm dead.
Picking 3 random.
Can you please text?
All right. Oh, I got 2 oranges and a yellow. Okay, so look at how much this population has changed in such a short amount of time here. I am down to only having 1 yellow available and 9 orange. So I'm gonna eat a yellow. Now I'm forced to eat 2 oranges because there's no other yellows. Put them back, reproduce. All right, I got 2 yellows and an orange. So, what does that sound? Somebody should mute themselves. Okay, now I'm down to 2 yellows and 8 oranges for generation 5. We have 5 more generations to go. Eating my 2 yellows, my orange. I got 2 yellows and an orange again. All right. Exciting stuff here. 8 orange, 2 yellow. Now I'm on to generation 7. How are you guys doing? Are you getting mostly orange at this point?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have Skittles.
I meant the people who are in the lab physically here with me, but if you don't have Skittles, you can imagine you would be getting mostly oranges at this point. 1 yellow, 9 oranges. Okay. And we're pulling from the same amount of yellow and orange, right? We started with 15 of each. So I'm just randomly selecting here, and I'm getting mostly oranges at this point. My 8th generation is 1, 9. Oops, I almost didn't eat the Skittles.
Dang, how many Skittles does she have?
Skittles.
Well, I'm just pulling from the same bowl every time that started out having 15 yellow and 15
I
oranges.
thought you ate them already.
Nope, I'm not actually eating them. I'm putting them back.
Oh,
Eating comes later. Good question. Good question. Uh-oh, my muscles are getting off their shoreline. All right. Now we're down in generation 9. We have 8 orange and 2 yellow. This is going to be my last generation here. And I ended with 9 orange and 1 yellow. Okay, so this is a pretty simplistic model of natural selection. I'm gonna be just like wrapping up this part on the lab and kind of explaining what you guys are gonna do at home while we get our average data. Okay, so the reason that I like this better than the colored paper lab is because in this one, there's actually a conscious choice being made by the starfish, right? That's based on a real situation. There actually are different thicknesses of shells and mussels, right? So some starfish do prefer certain kinds of mussels over others. It makes sense. It's similar to how we prefer certain food over other food, right? So I like that there's that element in this lab where you're actually making a choice that you're picking the easier to eat mussels. The yellow ones are easier to eat, so we're eating those first. And over time, what ends up happening is less yellow mussels are in the population because they keep getting eaten. They're not able to survive and reproduce. So that's the key here. They're not able to survive and reproduce. Sure, they're being born, right? There's a 50% chance, we'll say, of being yellow or orange. But you're more likely to be eaten if you're yellow. And if you get eaten right away, then you're not able to survive and reproduce. Your offspring are less likely to be yellow. All right, so there's actually a second part to this lab that we're not gonna do that, what's going on over there? That involves this like crazy thing with a dice and there are different animals and there's like 18 things going on that's supposed to mimic more real life tidal shoreline type stuff. Obviously, this could get more realistic than it is. Why is there a 2 there? I don't know what I did there. Okay. Oh, I see. It's part of the instructions. Okay. So I'm going to fill in the data that I got on the master Google Doc here. Sorry, Elizabeth, I need to see my data really quick. My math. Okay. So I'm going to fill mine in on this master sheet. So if you need a place to see data here, it will be on the Google Doc that I shared with you. And we're busy taking averages here because I think it's important for us to not just look at the results we got, but to compare them to results that other people got as well. Because we should see a pretty solid trend here, and we just want to make sure that my data is not skewed. So, all right, somebody's got to be muted over here. There's noise going on. Okay. All right, so my data is in the Google Doc. We're going to work on the averages. And for the graph, I included in Canvas
It used to be something like 7 0.
I'm gonna manage you guys so I can mute you all. Okay, mute. Everyone's muted.
889. 9,
Who am I hearing? That's what I can't figure out.
It's me.
It's you? Okay, I'm muting you. Okay, there we go. For the graph, you can do the graph by hand, right? Showing how they changed over time. So ideally, you're gonna put the generations on the bottom. So generation 1 through generation 10. And then on your y-axis, you're gonna go up to 10, right? Because there's the max number you can have is 10. You can graph your individual data, that's fine. If you wanna learn how to do the graphing on Google Docs, there is in Canvas, which I guess I closed Canvas, which is rare. In Canvas, there is a module now with these detailed instructions, and there is a document about how to make graphs in Google Drive. So I will show you what I'm talking about here, just in case you need to locate this. Okay. Oops, I'm not even in modules. Been one of those days. All right. So if you scroll all the way to the bottom of modules, you'll see 214 Biology Lab 1. And if you click on that, you'll see this Google Doc that I shared with you. You'll see a link here to lab guidelines and graphing help. So that will walk you through how to make a graph in Google Docs. You don't have to do it in Google Docs. You can do it by hand, attach a picture, or send me the picture separately. That's perfectly fine. So the graph. All right, then there's these conclusion questions, right? And this says 5 generations, but we were originally gonna do 5 generations and then we changed it to 10, so you're actually gonna have to alter this. We're gonna write a statement describing the number of yellow and orange mussels, how they changed over 10 generations, because we did 10. You're gonna predict what would happen if we did 20 generations instead of 10. So if this kept going for another 10 generations, what would happen to the mussels? Would all of the orange ones dominate? Would it go back to being even? You're gonna talk about who of the 2 mussels would be most fit, right? Fitness just means your likelihood of surviving and reproducing. So which mussels were more likely to survive and reproduce? And then thinking about the mussels, I said very briefly here, they have a thin or thick shell, right? So to remember that. And then this last, number 5 is kind of a repeat of the pre-lab question, but I think saying it again will help you kind of get that in your mind. Individuals don't adapt. The last question is a question about a real life situation of this happening, right? There's a population of moths pre-industrialization, right? So before there were factories and pollution and all of that, the moths were mostly light colored and they lived on light colored trees. There was a variance of color though, right? There were a few darker moths, just like we see variances in the human population, just different traits that are expressed. Once industrialization happened, there was a ton of pollution. It actually turned the trees a dark color. So the trees went from being like a really light white tan color to being black, essentially. And it actually shifted the population of the moths, right? The darker moths became more prominent. There were more of those than the lighter moths. So using that little story, right, I want you to explain why that happened using what you've learned in this lab or maybe what you already knew. Oh, it says no content on your assignment. Let me see. I might have to push, get you guys able to submit that thing. Let me check. All right, so that moth one is a little tricky. If you get stuck on that one, just send me an email. I can send you a picture as well of that happening. Let's see. Oh yes, I did not make you able to submit it yet. Thank you for letting me know about that. So 214 Biology Lab that's what you're going to be submitting. Just the entire document. You can share make sure you share the Google document with me. Whoops. All right, text entry, website URL. All right. Oh no, I can't get to save. Okay, so now you should be able to turn in the lab. Okay, so what do you write for the analysis? You're just gonna be answering these 6 questions, right? You're gonna go through the questions and you're just gonna write a couple sentences about each one. I've seen some people do some nice, practicing their writing, having like an opening sentence, making it a paragraph. You can do that if you want to just answer each question one by one. That's also fine. So you're going to answer these summary questions. Please put them in complete sentences, but again, I don't care if you write it in a paragraph or... So what are we going to do for the class averages? We're calculating those right now. So those are about to come into the document. Yes, I have Elizabeth calculating all the class averages. Okay, so the class averages should be there in just a moment. All right, otherwise, we're gonna be ending the session pretty soon. This is a pretty short lab. I was hoping more people were gonna come in person so that you could play with the Skittles, because we have a huge bowl of Skittles for people to eat. But I guess if you come next time, then we'll have them then. So our next virtual session and lab situation is going to be on March 13th. We're gonna have a virtual session at 9 in the morning, right? That's gonna be a PowerPoint lecture kind of based lesson. And then on March 14th, I have something here called optional work time. That means that I will be here. You can come ask questions. You can come work on assignments with me. You can just come and sit in the science room and work if you want. Obviously, I'll probably still have 4,000 Skittles, so you could have some Skittles. And yeah, Evelyn, if you come tomorrow, you can get some Skittles.
So I did up all of the stuff for the thing, and then you divide it by the number of columns,
Yes.
right? It's
Yes.
gonna get like a
Decimal,
like
that's
the
fine.
Decimal, okay.
Mhm. All right, so where did you buy 4,000 Skittles? I think Rachel bought them from, I want to say Kmart.
That's the kind of decimal I'm getting.
That's
5.
71 divided by 5?
Put it in the other way.
Okay, I was gonna say, but still, that seems weird. 14 should be like less than 10.
Well, I added up all of the plots.
Okay, hold on. All right, so we're gonna work on the averages. So check the document in about 5 minutes to see the averages. Otherwise, let me take a quick screenshot of who attended. And then we will be done with this very short lab. Not all of them are this short, so keep that in mind. And hopefully a few more of you guys can come in person for these, just because it is really fun to do the hands-on part. And if you can't, try to find a way to participate from home. If you can, otherwise, make sure you tune in like you did today and you can see it happening at least. Okay, that's how I take attendance, screenshots. All right, so I will talk to you guys in the next virtual session, which will be on March 13th. Otherwise, I'm gonna go ahead and end this meeting. Okay, bye everyone.